Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live eRank Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, and her, Starla Moore. If you're new, welcome. We do this every Thursday here live in the Facebook group and in YouTube. So get your questions in and we can hopefully answer all your Etsy and eRank related questions.
Ooh, Eileen already. Hi, Starla. Finally caught alive. That's awesome. Yeah, we're here on Thursdays. Be sure to subscribe to the eRank channel and check out mine and Pam's channels as well because we post videos there too.
Absolutely. If you can not get enough of us, because I mean, who couldn't? Something, but yes, you'll get tons of advice here and there from all of us. And yeah, we're here every week to answer your questions. So get them in. Also, I think we do have a few questions and we do seem to have a chunk of people waiting, which is really cool.
Perfect. Well, for those who are new here, just a heads up that we ask on Wednesdays if anybody has questions that they want to submit early in the event that you're not able to join us live, or if your time zone doesn't permit. You can go into the eRank group, which if you're on YouTube, that's linked down below in the video description. And you can always find that post on Wednesdays pinned to the top of the group wall. That way you can get your questions in and you can make sure that they get answered. So we're going to knock those out first. And then you guys in the chat are free to ask us anything you want. But we've got some really good topics today that were already submitted. So let's go ahead and jump into those. Lynn asked, if a particular phrase is trademarked, are we no longer allowed to use that phrase to make a longer phrase? Just a girl is trademarked, but I've been seeing lots of listings with just a girl who loves books, for example. So that was one question. To be perfectly honest, we're probably not the best people to ask this question, though. This sounds like some people are going to consider that their IP and take action, and some people might not. So in terms of like asking legal questions, I would recommend that everybody writes down the website justanswer.com. You can pay a couple dollars. You can ask a lawyer. It keeps you from having to actually hire a lawyer and pay a bunch of money. It's super duper cheap, and you can just submit like your single question for a lawyer. So that would be my advice there, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know. And I have a feeling that this is a question that only a lawyer would be able to give you a good answer for, because there's going to be plenty of people who say, oh, it should be fine. But without that, backing from a legal expert, you're just going to get people's opinions of what they think is fine, as opposed to what is actually fine.
Yeah, it's really difficult with trademark law in that you only know the actual law on something when it's gone to court. That's the only way you.
Uh-oh, did she freeze? Oh no. Well, I'll keep going. But yeah, until you actually receive something like a cease and desist, or you get a copyright strike on Etsy, or worst case scenario, like what happened in the event of the recent Disney case that I was talking about on my YouTube channel this week or last week. Disney actually sued a couple who was ignoring the cease and desist notices. So just be careful, ask a legal expert, don't take advice from random people on the internet. Not that Pam and I are random people on the internet, but I wouldn't just, post in the Etsy forums and expect to get good answers. You need to talk to a legal expert. Uh-oh, we lost Pam. Oh, nope. It looks like she's back. Okay. We'll keep going. Aside from Merch Informer, is there a tool or website that we can check lists, recently registered trademarks or copyright, or do we need to manually check each phrase or design individually? I'm not sure. Once again, probably not the best people to ask. I always use the TESS trademark database, but that is based on typing those things in one by one, or Googling is blah, blah trademarked, is blah, blah, is there a copyright for blah, blah? But that's how I've always done it. If there's a better way to do it and somebody in the chat knows, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. But Like one thing me and Starla were talking about before we came in here, because we've both been digging into trademark and copyright, because 2023 seems to be the year of all of the copyright things exploding. So be extra careful. And I know this is really difficult, especially for print on demand people and stuff, but the only way you can be 100% sure that something isn't copyright or trademarked is if you created it 100% yourself. So if you're seeing other people doing something, there's a very good chance that someone could trademark that at some point. Things are things can get changed in the future. We're seeing it. I'm looking into slightly the Dungeons and Dragons thing, which is a whole mess just now. But what sort of happened was people have been making multi-million dollar businesses off of things to do with Dungeons and Dragons, and they decided to change their permissions. Now, whether that's going through or not, who knows? But they can do this, and take away the permissions that people already had, and people can lose their entire businesses. Now, I don't, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the thing. So if someone's been making a t-shirt with the just a girl who reads books or something on it, and that becomes associated with kind of their brand, people like, if Starla made her t-shirts of floopty whoopty doodah and they were the greatest t-shirts on earth and people were loving them, and I suddenly came along and undercut her with cheap quality t-shirts, she would have every right to say, hang on, Pam's hurting my brand, I'm going to trademark that and stop her being able to sell those t-shirts. So it seems really rubbish when people trademark common things, but it is actually protecting the good quality and the good name that they've built up. And yeah, if Starla came along and decided to do it tomorrow, I would have to stop selling what I've maybe been selling for years. So yeah, it's tough, but it's always easier and better if you're selling what you've created and what's an original idea by you.
Yeah. And Gloria had asked, do you always get served a cease and desist notification first? No. If you're selling on Etsy, there are two things that could happen. You get a copyright strike, which means that the IP holder or the owner of that piece of property, for we'll use Disney as an example, they have directly reported your listing to Etsy, and Etsy has dinged you with that copyright strike because only the owner of the intellectual property is able to file that report, right? So if you get 3 strikes on Etsy, you're out. I have heard of cases where it's only been 1 strike. Can't give you a reason for it. I don't know the context or what went on, or any of the details, but I know that there have been cases where I've seen sellers say that they only got 1 notice and then they were shut down. So your best bet is to not even consider the idea that you have 3 strikes and then you're out. It would be best to just avoid what you can. Now there are brands that are going to be more of a given. For example, we all know that Disney is a no-no. We can't touch Disney. If you were to put a quote and you just didn't know that that quote was protected, for example, a lot of people will use like onesie to describe baby body suits, and that's just what we call them, and we forget that onesie is owned by Gerber. That's their name for them. So in cases like that, you typically just get that strike. These brands know that they're so good at branding that we just know those products as, oh, this is a onesie. For example, I don't know if it's like this over there, Pam, but if you need a tissue, it's like, hey, can you hand me a Kleenex? And you're
Oh, yeah, we're actually not like that with tissues, which is
really,
weird. I mean, we do like a vacuum cleaner's a Hoover, and we do have the same things, but not with tissues. Don't know why.
yeah, yeah. Here it's just like you ask for a Kleenex, and sometimes we forget that these are their brand's Velcro. That sticky stuff Velcro is Velcro brand. That's their name. You can't call it Velcro. That word is protected. So in cases like that, the brands know. They've done such a good job of branding themselves that we just associate that type of item with their brand, and that's a good thing because they've been around so long. They're usually a little bit more lenient. They'll give you a warning. Um, the other thing that can happen is you get a cease and desist, which is usually when you've been messing around with bigger brands. For example, the couple that I covered in my last YouTube video, which I can pop the link into the chat, not that Not that it needs any more views than it currently has, because my, did it blow up. But
Yeah, but
for example,
you guys are the right people to be watching it.
that's
This
true.
is what it's about.
Um, but when I created that video, I got a bunch of like people in the comments saying, "Oh, what about this? What about this? What about this?" And bottom line, you cannot make Disney products. Whether you like Disney, whether you think that they're, greedy, that's like one of the things that I kept hearing. Oh, they're greedy. The laws that protect Disney's intellectual property are the same laws that protect yours. There are always going to be people who break the law. There's probably, if you had a guy, living next door doing drugs in his basement, it doesn't mean that he's doing them legally, and it doesn't mean that he's never going to get caught. So, but I don't want to stay on that topic too long. So feel free. I mean, if you guys have questions about it, that's fine, but feel free to check out that video because it covers the full case of this couple who ignored their cease and desist notices and they got sued. But in most cases on Etsy, what you're going to get is a copyright strike against your shop.
But bear in mind, if you are a high volume seller of something, you don't need to get a warning. They could very much come in and just be straight after you. It's like, you've made millions of dollars. We want some of that, thanks.
Yeah, somebody left a comment on my video today that said that because I've been speculating that Etsy's waiting to do a nice big crackdown this year and that they're kind of going to use this couple to set an example. And somebody had said they're probably waiting for the pig to get fat before they send it to slaughter. And I'm like, that is the best quote ever. They're waiting until there's lots of people who are, infringing, and then they're just going to have a heyday. And it's probably going to happen this year or next year because Steamboat Willie goes into the public domain in January of 2024, which means that they're going to have a reason to start looking for people who are violating other areas of their IP, such as the normal Mickey Mouse. So
Yep. It definitely feels this year started with a load of companies cracking down on their IP. So I think for everybody, check your listings. It's easy. We've all made mistakes. We've all done things like this, but just, yeah, watch out. Make sure your listings are okay.
yeah. I did want to point out that Rooster the Corso YouTube said was wondering, notice that the competition sales numbers for individual items has disappeared and can no longer see an estimated sale or estimate on how well an item has sold in the past. Are we allowed to tell them why they can't see that anymore?
Yes.
Okay.
I asked Anthony permission for for that one. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
We can have a pinky fight.
Okay. The short answer is that we are kind of talking to Etsy and hoping to do some big things in direct communication with Etsy themselves, which would be fantastic. And that would allow us to, help more people. It would allow us to do more. It would allow us to build more really cool tools, which is always, our goal is to give you guys more. But upon, giving Etsy kind of a tour of what eRank was, they didn't care for that. They didn't seem to like that. So we decided, okay, we want to work with Etsy to better help the Etsy community. And since they didn't seem to like that tool very much, the idea of it, we figured let's just go ahead and get rid of that one, because we don't feel that it is a tool that really makes eRank eRank. eRank is, primarily an SEO tool and a keyword tool. And we understand that a couple people are probably going to miss it. But if the trade-off is that we can build something even cooler, in the long run, which we are working on some really cool stuff right now, then I think that it's a pretty good trade-off. So hopefully we can, add some new things that make up for, that one little missing stat.
Absolutely. And I know some people did really love it, but it wasn't massively used either. We were able to look at the numbers and things. So
Yeah.
really sorry for everybody that loved it. But yeah, we're not going to bite the hand that feeds us there with Etsy as well.
Yeah. It's not like they made us. That's like when everybody said like eRank changed their name from Etsy Rank because Etsy got mad and said they were going to sue them. I'm like, that is not what happened at all. When, when you want to work with another company and you want to, be friends with them, and they state that, they're not overly fond of something, it's nice to change it. We didn't have to. We
Mhm.
didn't have to get rid of this tool, but it felt like the right thing to do in that moment. Just like, we didn't have to change the name of, Etsy Rank to eRank, but we knew that for long-term collaborations, it would probably be a good idea for the brand. So it was just another one of those cases. So hopefully you guys can, you know,
Well, the
learn to love some of the other tools that maybe you don't know so much about because we've got so many.
eRank is a good example of like trademark things. Although we, as Starla says, we weren't like massively in trouble for it and things, but that could be confusing if someone comes to the tool and says eRank and they think it's a tool designed by Etsy. So if we change the name a little bit, then although we hopefully work with Etsy and keep them happy, and we are for Etsy sellers, we are not Etsy. We're a separate company. That's
Yeah.
kind of really important to make it clear from both sides.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Next one is from Mayra. Is it okay to sell products like mini Nutella, chips in custom design boxes as party favors? Um, it would be the custom design boxes that you would be able to sell. And the thing is, all of those little mini packages, they all have in fine print on the packaging that they're not for resale. You can't resell those. And I know that, sometimes you go to the gas station and they've got stuff like that sitting out. But you're on an online marketplace. So if you wanted to make some type of little boxes and sleeves and you just happen to, have a little bag of chips as an example, or a little, box as an example, but it's not branded for any particular, food brand, it would be fine as long as you're not using any of those names. You couldn't call it like mini Nutella party favor or something like that. You can't use those words, you can't use those names, you can't put anything on the designs themselves that allude to, those things. In fact, if I were taking a product photo of I'm assuming you mean like the little itty bitty Nutella things, I would try to pull the label off of the Nutella packaging, just having the brown, because people can look at it and see what it is, just to be safe.
Yeah, or you can get like generic own brand things. That would probably be good. I think in terms of Etsy's rules, it could work as personalized or party supplies. But as Starla says, you're getting into, do the companies want you to be selling stuff branded Nutella? And they probably don't. And also, do you really want to ship Nutella over the country? And it's things like that. I'm not sure how well it's going to ship if it gets stuck in a holding center or something.
Yeah.
But I think the boxes for people to make up favors at parties and things, that could fit into party supplies or personalized items. I would go with party supplies because that's what they are.
Yeah.
It could be a cute thing.
You could even do like digital download templates where they could cut the things out themselves and, put them over. I don't know if you're talking about the tiny jars or the little plastic cups that come with the little biscuit sticks. But either way, you could make like little sleeves that slip on. I know you can buy water bottle sleeves and little snack box sleeves and juice box sleeves that you can print out for parties and slip them right over top of the originals. So that might be an option.
Yeah, sounds cute, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be careful of using other people's stuff, definitely.
All right. Paige said, I set up my Google Analytics, connected it to eRank and Etsy, followed your video, Starla. Awesome. Good to know that it's still working because I believe that we were told that Google Analytics, the ability to create new properties, would go away on January 1st.
It
So,
is still working from what I'm
okay.
hearing. But guys, connect up your Google Analytics right now because
Yeah.
we don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah. She said, Google Analytics is the most information overload thing I've ever seen, and I don't understand it. Is there a place where I can go learn the basics? I want to grow my business and feel like I'm scared. GA help. So,
yeah, at the end of Starla's video, just follow the link to my video and I show you how once you've connected your Google Analytics to your eRank account, you can get the data from eRank instead, because Google
yes.
Analytics is a nightmare. But we deliberately designed this tool so that it pulls the important data off of Google Analytics because, yeah, I like numbers, I like graphs, I like all that kind of stuff. And the number of times I've opened Google Analytics and says, right, I'm going to get to hang of this now, and just closed it and stepped away. So we've pulled hopefully the most important data there, and then it's going to be into your eRank account if you've connected everything up. And I myself and Starla did the video on how to set up the Google Analytics, because that is also a nightmare, and there's many people have given bad advice. I think including Etsy at one point was given bad advice on how to do it. So you follow Starla's video to make sure everything's set up okay, and then head over to mine and I do a quick tour of what we've got in eRank to be able to see that data.
Yeah, I think that you could probably just search Pam Duffy Google Analytics, because I'm sure it's in your tags.
Probably, hopefully.
Yeah, if not, just I know that if you search Starla Moore Google Analytics, it pops right up, and then Pam's video is linked in my video description. So just pop the description down, and it should say Pam's video right on it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what I called that. Right.
All right. Could you please post the video link here for the Google Analytics set? Okay, I'll just I'll find both of them.
It's probably quicker. I could not find mine just now, but
I'll get it.
Starla on the noisiest keyboard in the world.
I got a quiet keyboard now.
That is still not a quiet keyboard, Starla.
This is we got rid of the super duper loud one.
All right, I'll post that. Cool. That's like, you don't have to put fake typing noises. Like, we know Starla's typing.
All right, so there's mine. That's part 1. So that's going to be how to set up Google Analytics. And then here is both on YouTube and in the Facebook chat. Here is part 2. Pam's video will teach you how to then take that Google Analytics account, connect it to your eRank, and then how to understand the data that you're looking at. That way you're not super duper confused like you described. But you're not here. I don't think you're here right now, so you'll have to.
Oh, right. You'll catch it on the replay anyway, hopefully. But I say the Google Analytics super helped me. I know we all say don't be checking your stats every few minutes, but I went viral just before Christmas, and you really, as soon as something blows up, you're like checking your stats. We all do it. I bet Starla was checking her YouTube stats today when her Disney video was doing well. You know you shouldn't, but yeah. So I knew I was getting a load of sales, so I had to be getting a load of views, but my Etsy stats weren't keeping up. So I clicked on eRank, and because I'd set up my Google Analytics right there in front, it was telling me what keyword was sending the traffic. And that just, I was able to calm down and just go, okay, I know where it's coming from. I know what's happened. That's fine. I didn't need to dig into it any further, but it just stopped that. It's what they call in photography chimping, where you just keep on looking back down at the thing. And I would have done that all day, trying to just find out, like, where's this traffic coming from? But I was able to get it like nice and quickly.
All right. Well, that looks like all the questions that we have had submitted early, and it doesn't look like you guys have been very chatty. So feel free to get some questions into the chat for us. That way we can fill our last 30 minutes with interesting content. Otherwise, we'll find something silly to talk about. I did notice that.
Give us silly topics, but
yes,
you've got us here for another 30 minutes. So hit us. I'm going to regret this. Yeah, hit us with all your big questions. We've both got like ridiculous amount of years of experience now with this, and that still means that a good 50% of the time we're going to say, I don't know. So, so hit us and see what we know.
All right, let's see. Will this one fit on the screen?
Oh, Jillian's.
Will it all fit?
It'll scroll.
It'll scroll. Okay. Say I'm using a keyword Southern decor and Southern style decor, and the first keyword has better stats, but the second keyword has more word combinations. Would it be better to go for the exact match, better stats, or go for a potential long tail keyword with the same words but more words? Okay, so it's Southern decor and Southern style decor. Southern decor, you're going to have a much harder time ranking in search for than Southern style decor. The more specific you get, the more likely it is that you're going to be, you know, targeting people that have more of that purchase intent, like we talk about. That I would experiment with both. You know, you could always A/B split test, or just do two different listings and try it out. But if it were me personally, because I'd still be broad matching for the Southern decor on its own, I would go with the Southern style decor if it still has some, pretty good stats on it.
Yeah, that is, for those that don't know, the way that Etsy matches your keywords and things. If the keyword you're aiming for is Southern decor, and in your title you have Southern style decor, then it's seen as a less relevant match. It's still relevant. Etsy can still see those two words separated by the word style, bring them together and match you for that keyword, but you'd be a little more relevant and therefore perhaps rank a little higher in search if you just used the phrase Southern decor. But that also depends, like Starla said, on whether you can rank for that at all. So it's definitely worth experimenting. If something, it might have better search volume, but it might have a huge amount of competition. So it doesn't matter if you use the phrase Southern decor, you're just not going to rank for it. But if Southern style decor kind of is a bit good, what can happen is if you start making sales from that and people start loving you from that, your listing and your entire shop's going to get a better quality score. And Etsy might start showing you for Southern decor anyway, because it's like, hang on, this is a bit relevant. Their stuff's good. People love it. Let's try her with that anyway. So it's worth experimenting with. See what you can rank for, see what customers like, and see what happens. I'm afraid that we literally can't tell you what the best keyword combinations to use are, because a lot of what works depends on buyer behavior when they see your items. So we'll have to experiment.
Yeah. I remember a couple years ago, I had a dragon couples, skeleton key set, and I was able to rank on page one for couple set, which was insane. Like that was couple sets of mugs, couple sets of pajamas, like couple sets of everything. And it was right around the holidays too. And I was so excited, but I didn't start out ranking for that. I started out ranking for silver dragon necklace, which is totally unrelated to couples necklace. But because I was generating so many sales, Etsy's like, let's start putting this in front of more people. And it became a bestseller. I made thousands of dollars on that single listing alone. So you never know. And Carrie had said, before this, I was worried about linking our very new Etsy store to eRank, but I now will. eRank is totally safe. If you ever have any issues, you can always, bug our support. There, she's right. She's right there.
Yeah.
and Irina.
Yeah. Don't. Well, as you now know, we talk to Etsy and we try and keep things all above board with Etsy, and also with Google. Before we could link up with Google Analytics, we had to show them what we were doing and make sure they were happy with it. We have to keep all your data secret, like private for you. So you link up your store to eRank, and that allows you on your account to see extra details, but it doesn't allow us to share your details with anyone else. So it's completely private to you. It just makes using our tool a bit easier for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, neither me or Starla would be working for eRank if we were doing shady stuff with your data. Definitely.
I don't think Etsy would have us listed in the integrations. If you guys go and log into your Etsy account and is it in what tab is it in? Over on the left panel in marketing?
Yeah, I can't remember now.
I think it's
Let
in
me have a
marketing.
look.
One of
Well, my
those.
computer's running slow. Don't think so. Oh no, there is just a whole integrations
Yeah.
button now. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
It's
in your
under marketing. It's a bit like as in beside marketing, not.
got it. So if you guys click on integrations while you're logged into Etsy, you can see all of like the trusted apps and services that Etsy recommends, and we're on there. So that's exciting, fun. All right, let's see. Over on YouTube, Obsessions by Crystal asked, I'm trying to come up with a tagline, but I'm drawing a blank. Do you have brainstorming suggestions? Crystal, did you mean, I'm assuming you don't mean a slogan. I am assuming you actually mean like your tagline for your shop. I would put your superstar keyword in there for sure. And you're in Handmade Alpha Academy. So whatever your common denominator is, if it's wire wrap jewelry, wire wrap gemstone jewelry, wire wrap gemstones, whatever that, combination of words you like to rank for may be, I would make sure that that is definitely in your tagline, because that's one of those Google optimized sections. If somebody searched for best handmade wire wrap jewelry on Google, you know, they might get some Etsy sellers pop up, and you might have a better opportunity of being discovered.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about it though. Just
Oh,
you
slogan.
slogan, right?
Go to the sticky lesson in Handmade Alpha Academy in three, module three, either module 2 or module 3. It's covered in sticky slogan. But for those of you who aren't in Handmade Alpha Academy, your slogan is your brand's promise. A lot of people utilize their slogan as a way to say what they sell, but no successful brands use their slogan to say what they sell. I'm loving it is McDonald's. I think that Coke is just enjoy Coke. I'm trying to think of some more.
One we had in the UK that I was just thinking of the other day. I don't know if other countries have it, but it's ice. What is it? I can't remember. Something lemonade, ice and a slice.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's for Pimm's, which is a alcoholic mixer, but it tells you how to make the drink.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
fun.
just walking, I saw it, and in my head, yeah, it is. It's just Pimm's lemonade, ice and a slice. I saw a bottle of Pimm's, and that went in my head, and I suddenly wanted all of these things. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic tagline.
And Linda said Nike is just do it. Exactly. Like
Mhm.
think about what is your brand's promise to your customers. Nike, they want, their motivation, just do it. Just get out and do it. Get out and run, get out and, play a sport, whatever that might be. And in Pam's example, it was how to use the product. It was kind of a direction. It created a brand association. So there's so many fun ways. I would just sit and write down a nice big fun list of slogans, and then, you know, post either in the Alpha Facebook group or even in the eRank Facebook group, and have people, tell you what they think. Let them vote. Do a little
Yeah.
poll.
It's fun. It's just sitting thinking of what kind of people do you want with your items? What feeling do you want? Why are they buying it? Another one that pops into my head, this is really cheesy from the 80s. I'm showing my age. But there was one that's, and all because the lady loves milk tray. And it was an advert for chocolates. They were trying to brand their chocolates for adverts. And they just did these James Bond adverts, which is really creepy when you look now. But he would like paraglide into her hotel window to just leave a box of chocolates there, which is hideously creepy. But that was like, what, 30 years ago? And I still remember that thing. And the idea was they were wanting to put that this is a gift for adults now, and this is a bit seductive and stuff, and they just did it in that really cheesy tagline.
Yeah. For your Etsy shops, that area that's below your actual shop name, I know a lot of people stick their slogan in there. If we're actually, talking about the purpose of a slogan, I'm actually doing research into more brand psychology stuff right now. Um, I wouldn't put your slogan there unless your slogan already contains the superstar keywords you want to be known for. I would just keyword optimize that section and then take your slogan and use that as a branding element. Put it on your banner, or your cover photo. I mean, put it on your social media banners. Put it on your business cards. Any type of little printouts that you have. Use it in your marketing. Um, do you guys know what eRank's? So, does anybody know what eRank's slogan is? Put it in the chat if you know what it is.
Yeah, cool. That'd be interesting.
Let's see. Let's see if anybody
if,
remembers.
if anyone's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we wait, the Coleman twins asked, we used to sell face masks when we first started, fell victim to selling masks made with licensed fabric, NFL, Disney, etc. And of course, we got flagged by Etsy. We were so scared of losing our shop. Well, we have tons of fabric left that we'd love to sell. We see lots of shops selling just the fabrics. Our question is, can we actually sell the licensed fabric on Etsy? No. And the shops that you see doing it are doing it illegally. What I always hear is sellers say, but I'm protected under the first sales doctrine. The first sales doctrine applied to the first sale. You're not the first sale. Who you bought the fabric from was the first sale, assuming that they obtained it through legal licensing. Otherwise, the fabric itself is counterfeit. But assuming that you got it from a craft store or, a company that is licensed through, whatever Disney, NFL, yada yada, that license does not carry over to you. Now, this is one of the biggest arguments that I see in a lot of these craft groups. And unfortunately, there is so much misinformation because people think that they're protected under the first sales doctrine, but it's absolutely not true. You guys, you have to treat those fabrics as a personal product. They will all include information, something about, for personal use only, not for resale, yada, yada. But you often don't see those because on the big rolls at the craft store, those stickers that state that are on the ends of the rolls. They're on the cardboard. And then when they just cut you your slab of fabric, you don't also receive the licensing information with that. But that license is only for your personal use. You cannot take that fabric and utilize it to create something to sell. You can make gifts with it. You can make stuff for yourself. But the moment that you make a profit on it, you're violating, their trademark or copyright. But in terms of just wanting to like offload that stuff, I would just find like a local friend or somebody who wants it. That would be your best bet. I definitely wouldn't list it again, because if you get another strike and you've already gotten a strike, it could potentially get your shop shut down.
Yeah. Etsy is less forgiving if you've already had a strike, which is fair enough. They're like, okay, you should have looked into this. And I know it absolutely sucks. I hope you didn't buy too much fabric, but sadly, yeah, that's the thing. And it's a good example of why nobody can take legal advice from craft groups or fan art groups and stuff, because there's so much rubbish that people just share. They hear it from someone and they pass it on. So Starla said at the start of this, the company that you can pay a little bit for a lawyer for one question. I can't remember what it was called.
Justanswer.com.
That's it. So justanswer.com is a quick way to find out all of these. And yeah, stop the spreading on of these rumors that end up with people getting into whole lots of trouble, because I totally understand why everyone thinks they can do these things.
Yeah. And it's you're not the first person to ask. I've answered that question at least 20 times in the last day, just because I had that video go viral. And most people have no idea that they can't sell those products. So it's it's one of those things where, you know, once you do know, it's just your job to make sure that you take care of your own business, because if you tell other people, I mean, I wouldn't spread the information, but if you try to tell other people not to do it, then they usually get snotty with you in my experience. So sometimes you just have to let people make their own mistakes. But now you know, so you can keep yourself safe. Let's see. Oh, and yes, from little things, big things grow.
Oh, brilliant. I haven't got that far down yet. Some people did get it.
Let's see.
Yay, Jillian gets the badge that we don't have, but
The,
well done.
the pretty star sticker. Let's see. Rosemary, Rosemary, Rosemary. I do this every single week.
I think it's just your thing now.
Yeah, it's my thing now. I will always pronounce every name in two ways, even if it's Bob. Bob, Bob. Let's see. This year, I'm trying more in-person sales opportunities by doing high-quality craft shows, $300 a booth. Awesome. I've had a high concentration of sales from North Carolina. Is it worth doing one of those shows in North Carolina? And there is no way to tell. What you can do is look up the name of the show and check the turnout rates from previous years. Usually large shows will have Facebook groups and things associated with them, or Reddit forums, or you can just pop into, you know, other craft related groups and ask, has anybody sold at this show, and ask some questions just to see if it's worth it. But
And how easy it is for you to get to and find somewhere to stay. You know, if you've got family just around the corner, then that might just be a fun extra trip. If it's in the middle of nowhere and it's going to cost a fortune to get there and you know no one, that might be less pleasant.
yeah, there's a lot of costs that go into that. I was when I was doing public speaking events before the pandemic, I made the mistake of doing those public speaking events for free because they were full of crafters, and I thought, "Oh, that's going to be a great marketing opportunity for me." Except I didn't factor in the fact that I had to pay for a kennel for the dog. We had to pay for travel. We had to pay for our hotel. We had to pay for our food, usually in large cities like Pittsburgh and Columbus and Louisville. And it ended up being very, very costly. So
Yeah. And you've also got all the time that you can't work because you're doing all of this as well.
that too. Yeah. So factor all the little things in.
Yeah. And you can never guarantee with craft shows you're trying to go for like decent quality ones and finding out in advance what they're like. But I used to help my mum with craft shows, and we would never know. From one week it was crickets, and the next, you know, like you were having to totally flatter everybody 100% on everything that they picked up, and then the next week it was just like people were thrusting money at you to take things. So yeah, it's crafts shows are an interesting ride for sure.
All right, we've got Abigail on Facebook and then CJ over on YouTube. So we'll do Abigail first. I heard another seller say that they used their listing videos for YouTube shorts. This was driving traffic for her. Does that sound like it's something that would work? How do you ladies do with short stats? Also, can we see an eRank or on our Etsy stats if YouTube is sending us traffic? So YouTube is no different than Etsy in a sense, and your videos are your listings. There are a lot of factors that play into whether or not they're going to be successful. Keyword optimization, making sure that, you know, you are immediately grabbing the attention of the person watching the short, which is the same as Instagram Reels. It's the same as YouTube. If she's got a lot of YouTube subscribers already, she's more likely to have a video do well. Somebody who just uploads their very first YouTube video and it happens to be a short, that short isn't going to get good distribution. It's just not. You have to gain a little bit of traction first. Is it worth it? Sure. Take a bunch of little videos and post them on YouTube and on Instagram Reels and for TikToks, do all of that. But if you're just taking your listing videos and you have a certain amount of those, and then you're deciding once you're done with that, you're not, posting anymore, YouTube is a long game. You have to show up every week and be consistent. I upload a video every week at 12:15 on Tuesday. I upload a video, or I do a live stream every Friday at noon Eastern, and I've been doing this for over 5 years. If you're not consistent, you're not going to see success. So if you're just trying to get traffic and that is your objective, I dare say that YouTube probably isn't going to be worth your time. However, if you already have those videos and you're already utilizing things like Instagram Reels and TikToks, that's just another place where you can post your short form video content. And if it performs well, cool. If not, no biggie. It's not a lot of additional work, but I wouldn't go out of your way unless you're actually invested in generating a decent amount of short form video content.
Yeah. I'm gonna say YouTube. Well, myself and Starla both spend a lot of time on YouTube, so we think it is worth the effort. There's a couple of things. Shorts are kind of new to YouTube. They're still trying to find out what they want to do with them, so it's a risk. But there's a couple of things that YouTube and Pinterest have something going for them that likes of Instagram don't at the minute, and that is they're both a search engine, and YouTube is a search engine connected to Google.
Yes.
So you do have that added factor. It's easier to turn up on the Google search page with a YouTube video and things like that. So there is some bonuses, and craft videos that are interesting, that catch people's attention, that are subjects that people are searching for, can do well. If you just take your listing video that's like, here is my product, that won't do very well. If you take a video that is really fun to watch and you add some really cool music to it, or some voiceovers or some sound effects, and make it interesting, then it can do really well. But yeah, YouTube is more of a thing that you can grow with time. Shorts are a little still like Instagram Reels because they're new. They can do a little bit better than regular long form content because they're being pushed at different people, but it's a risk. It's fun though.
My shorts don't perform nearly as good as my normal videos on YouTube. And I'm at 43,000 subscribers. So I'll publish out a short and it takes forever to gain traction compared to my longer videos that do well. So I think that it just completely depends on your audience, the type of content, and how much YouTube wants to show your video to people, which that's as with every algorithm, but they're a little bit more unpredictable than
It depends. I think at the minute, shorts seem to work better for trending things. So when I snipped up an old video I had and made a really quick and dirty short on Wednesday on a picture I made of Wednesday Addams. That did great. I thought, this is great. Here we go. I'll make another Wednesday Addams. Did that short? Yeah, it did nothing. So yeah, it is a gamble, but it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you can hit trend, like, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, they're all, if you can hit a trend, you're doing great. I'm just like way too old to be trendy. So
do it because you wanna have fun with it. If you turn it into more work, it's not gonna be very fun for you.
yeah. I will say we still don't have the Etsy Explorer as being not fruit-based operating systems. But if they would get around to this, I do think practicing videos on different platforms could be good in the future for the Etsy Explorer.
Yeah.
I just don't know much about it because I don't have access to it, so it's driving me mental. But videos is going to be important, and is going to be more important on Etsy as far as I can tell. So it's not a bad thing to learn how to make videos.
All right, let's see. CJ on YouTube asked, did you ladies already talk about the new star seller button or the new search filter button for customers? No, but
I just
everybody's
asked
freaking out
Anthony about it.
Yeah, I'm How many of you, let's play a little game, okay? Everybody ready? How many of you use, while shopping on Etsy, the filters feature to filter your search results? I don't. Have you
I
ever
had to
used?
figure out how to get to the the filter buttons to be able to find out about the star seller button.
Yeah. I you know what, occasionally if I'm looking for something really crazy for fun, I will filter by most expensive just to see what comes up, but that's, it's never out of the desire to buy something. Yeah, everybody is saying no
I've
filter, never,
yeah,
no.
I've done that, and I found a life-size German shepherd sculpture.
Yeah, yeah, occasionally I'm only doing it to look at what is the most expensive
Yeah.
candle on Etsy, you know? So, yeah, looks like I filter as there is so much junk in the search, but you probably have a very specific idea of what you're looking for as well. So, looks like yeah, and I do it Christmas time for local. So there
Yeah.
are a couple very specific uses, but for the most part, it doesn't look like,
Yeah, I
not a bit.
think I've looked at local and like Starla, it's to get a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, yeah, Etsy used to have a whole shop local button, which was cool. I learnt so many crafters in my city and stuff, but it's not quite as easy as that anymore. But it's cool to do things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to wait and see how much people are going to be interested in filtering by Star Seller. I have a feeling that when people pull out the filters, the first time they see it, they might hit that button, and then Etsy will announce that 90% of sellers use that, and then we'll find out in actually 6 months' time nobody will care about it. That's just my feeling, though.
Yeah. All right, we've got about 5 minutes, so I think that we could probably squeeze in one more. And Christina has provided us with one more over on YouTube. What's the minimum number of listings you would recommend before publicly launching a new Etsy shop? Honestly, you can't sell what you haven't listed.
Yeah,
So
one.
get them listed, unless you're wanting to have a fancy marketed launch and you've got like a social media following ready to go and they're all excited waiting for your launch date. That's typically something you do, a little later, after you've generated a little momentum and built a social media following. But if you're just starting fresh, you can't sell what isn't listed. So even if you just list one item, like you know like I'm trying to think, there's a shop that I bought bookends from, and they only sell that one item, but they're really nice, but it's just the one thing that they even have listed. So that, first listing that you add to your shop, who knows, it could sell while you're taking your time, planning out your next listing. So yeah, I would just get stuff in your shop.
Yeah, there's a myth that you need a certain number of listings in an Etsy shop. That is a myth. You don't need any number of listings in a shop. One's enough. Um, and like Starla was saying there, basically, if you don't have a following, you could plan an amazing launch and you're going to launch to crickets because nobody knows you're there yet.
Yep.
So you don't have to be strategic. You don't have to get everything correct. You don't have to have your SEO ducks all in order. Get things launched, and then the next listing that you put up, make that one a little bit better. The next one, make it a little bit better. And then you can start, you might have some stats by then. You can go back and look at them and make your next ones even better. But don't wait. You've got, unless you already know everything, which you wouldn't be here asking us, but you've got so much to learn. That sounds bad, but there's so much you're going to do better with your next listing and your next listing. So yeah, just get it done.
Exactly. All right, guys. It looks like we're out of questions and we're right there at the end. So I think that we're good to cut it. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Make sure that if for any reason you're watching the replay and you're really bummed because you can never make it to these live streams, join the eRank group. That's linked down below on YouTube in the video description, and that's going to allow you to submit your questions on Wednesdays in the nice little pinned post that's right at the top of the eRank group. And that way you can make sure that you cut in line and you can listen to the replay again to hear your answers. Other than that, oh, look, all of you. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you all, guys. It's been great.